Bhante, can you hear me?
Hello, Chaturi.
Yes, Bhante.
You managed to log in.
Yes, with my phone.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Bhante.
I need somebody to read the questions. Somebody has very clear voice.
Okay. One thing for people, if you can just post a question to everybody, because that's the only way I can see it on my phone. So when you post it, don't post it to Bhante G, post it to everybody so I can read it.
Okay. There are not too many people yet.
Right. About 19 people.
Yeah, 19 people.
Bhante, do you have your microphone on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just to make sure.
Everything is on, but my video I have muted already.
Okay.
Until everybody comes, at least until 10 o'clock, I keep my video closed.
Yes.
Now, where are you from now? Talking now.
We just stopped.
We just came out near Lexington.
We're near Lexington still.
We just stopped in a rest area.
Yeah, we're in a rest area near Lexington, just exiting the mountain area. So we have some signal.
I see. Today we are very busy.
Yes.
Today new moon day. And 1 o'clock we have Uposatha.
Yeah.
And 3 o'clock I have children's talk.
Right.
And 5 o'clock we start the retreat. There are about
Okay. I thought actually the retreat was already going on this weekend.
Yeah, we start on the at about 5 o'clock this afternoon.
I thought, yeah, okay.
There are about 15 monks already.
Oh, wow.
2 came from Germany, 1 from Canada, 3 from Pittsburgh.
Wow.
1 is on the way from Malaysia.
Quite an international group.
Yeah. 1 from Atlanta. From very long distance places they come. Okay, now let's start.
Okay, Bhante, we have a couple questions. The first question is asking some advice on how to practice equanimity towards close family members.
Now, it is sometimes practicing equanimity for anybody is not easy, because we have some kind of prejudice, biases especially for family members, people have attachment or resentment sometimes. And because of that, it is not very easy to practice equanimity towards them. I think the best way to practice is not to think of any particular person and include family members to the whole world family. Meaning that just like when you practice metta, you don't practice metta for one particular individual or group of people. Practicing towards group of people or one particular person again is going to make it difficult because there are certain type of resentment or attachment. All these four Brahmaviharas we have to practice without such biases, prejudice, emotions. Therefore, practice metta, what you call universal metta. Buddha has very strongly recommended almost everywhere. In Buddha's own words, in suttas, in original suttas, Buddha has not mentioned practicing metta towards one person, directing to one family. But he asks us to practice towards all 10 directions. 10 direction. You select one direction like the east. You may say use few words or use the whole discourse as mentioned in Karaniya Metta Sutta. Memorize the meaning of the sutta or the few words. I think it will be much easier if you practice use only very few words like may all beings in the eastern direction be well, happy and peaceful. Your family members may be in that direction, and in that direction there are countless living beings. You don't know them in person, you have not seen them, you are not associated with them. There can be trillions of beings in the eastern direction, unlimited number. This practice also is called illimitable, appamanya. So we send metta towards all beings in the eastern direction and say, may they be well, happy and peaceful. Then go to southeastern direction and repeat the same thing. May all beings in the southeast direction be well, happy and peaceful. Then the southern direction, southwestern direction, western direction, northwestern direction, northern direction, northeastern direction, all beings in above you in the sky, up, and all beings down below you, like on the earth or the ocean and so forth. When you send metta towards 10 directions like this, your family members also are included. But don't select your family members as your focus on metta, equanimity. Perhaps people who are the one who asked the question may have some emotional biases due to one thing or another, and therefore the person cannot use very harsh attitude. No, a person simply relaxes and does nothing, and therefore the person, however, has to deal with the person, family members. That may be the reason why this question is asked. So this is my answer. if we follow very strictly the Buddha's teaching, it will be easier to practice better, loving, what you call equanimity towards them. Yes, next question.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is, can you please explain how ayatana nirodha should be practiced by us in daily life? Daily. Ayatana nirodha. No, sorry, let me say it again. Ayatana nirodha.
Ayatana nirodha.
Yes.
Ayatana nirodha is not very easy to practice. Ayatana, we have faculties indriya, ayatana. Indriya are same as ayatana. 6 indriyas, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. Ayatana also are the same. The word ayatana is used to denote activities. The word ayatana in Sanskrit and Pali, even in spoken English, we say such and such ayatana. Medical ayatana, commercial ayatana, education ayatana, and so forth. Ayatana means a place where a lot of activities going on. So taking one of them is eye, is one ayatana. Ayatana nirodha. So because of these activities in that particular ayatana, in case, as example, eye, we have either attachment or rejection, greed or hatred, or confusion. Ayatana nirodha means whenever greed, hatred or delusion arises through the eye, we must get rid of that greed, hatred and delusion. And that is how we get rid of that ayatana. Nirodha means cessation, bringing to an end. When we say we get rid of chakkayatana means chakwayatana, eye faculty. Ayatana means faculty. You just imagine a faculty in a university. How many things are going on in that faculty? Like that, eye faculty is very busy with greed, hatred and delusion, because when you see an object, as I mentioned yesterday, when you see an object, according to your previous conditioning, you either like the object or hate the object, or you may get confused. So you have to understand the nature of this faculty, this greed, hatred and delusion. Greed is always a cause of suffering by definition. As soon as greed arises, you are in pain, suffering, and you don't want to maintain it. Moreover, greed is impermanent, unsatisfactory, without self. Hatred also, when it arises, you have pain, dukkha, suffering. And also, hatred is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and without self. Confusion, when arises, you get also upset, disappointed, angry, because you cannot do what you want to do because you are confused. Actually, their confusion is ignorance. Ignorance of Four Noble Truth. Not knowing Noble Truth is called ignorance or confusion. When it arises, you are not clear. However, this confusion also impermanent, unsatisfactory, without self. Seeing these three characteristics of characteristics in greed, in eyes, you get rid of these characteristics. That means you get rid of your greed, hatred and delusion, knowing that they are impermanent, unsatisfactory and selfless. So you have to do this meditation over and over again in order to make ayatana nirodha. Ayatana nirodha means cessation of faculties. Cessation of faculties. Cessation of faculties does not mean you put your eyeball and throw away, and you make deaf yourself with the ear, and cut your nose and cut your tongue and so on. Not that kind of getting rid of. You get rid of greed, hatred and delusion arising through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. That is called ayatana nirodha. Ayatana nirodha. Nirodha means cessation. Okay, next question.
The next question, Bhante, is about the different types of faith, saddha. And could you explain what these different kinds of faith are, and also how to recognize and reflect upon saddha?
Yes, there are at least the three kinds of saddha. One is called andhasaddha, blind faith. Blind faith means you just because of somebody's appearance you trust the person, or somebody's talk, hearing the Dhamma talk, you have faith, or by somebody's reading about that person, you have faith, and so forth. Just superficially. Superficial behavior of the person, you build up your faith in that person. Or what that person says agrees with your own views, your own understanding. So that way you build up faith in that person. That is called blind faith. There is another faith that is called akaravati saddha. That is that person's performances in various ways. You observe the person, that way you have faith. And the third and the most important is aviccappasada. Avicca means you have faith endowed with knowledge. You have faith endowed with knowledge. For instance, when you listen to Dhamma explained very clearly without making any mistake, somebody explains Dhamma, you listen to it, paying total mindful attention, you listen to it, and then you will really be convinced that this is the truth. From your own personal experience, you see that it is the truth, and from association with the person, you believe that it is the truth. So you put your faith into test, try it again and again and again, just like when you give a piece of gold to somebody, he would burn it, put on an anvil and hammer it, cut it, and run all kind of tests, and finally he would be convinced that this is real gold. Then he believed in that. Similarly, when you learn the Dhamma, practice Dhamma, question it, investigate it, and then finally you know that this is the truth. That kind of, then you will have faith, trust in that teaching, in that person. That is called aviccappasada. That is faith endowed, accompanied with wisdom, with understanding, accompanied with understanding. That is the best kind of faith that we must cultivate. Okay?
The next question, Bhante, is what should we understand about Vipassana meditation?
Vipassana meditation.
Yes, how to understand this practice?
Yes. In the Vipassana meditation, I think we repeated it many times. Vipassana is to see things in a very special way. What is the special way? And what do we see? The special way is not superficial way. We see things very deeply with insight. And the things we see things, we say see things. What are the things? We see the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness. These are the things we have, nothing else. We see them as they are. What does that mean? That means the body is changing all the time. It is impermanent. Changing all the time. That is impermanent. Feelings, any feeling that we experience, for instance, while I'm talking, you feel, when you hear the sound, you feel something. That feeling, that sound is impermanent. You smell certain things, that smell is impermanent. You taste certain things, that is impermanent. Your body is impermanent. Your mind is impermanent. So the body is impermanent, contact is impermanent, then consciousness impermanent, perception impermanent, thinking impermanent, everything is impermanent. Seeing impermanence is impermanent, and whatever is impermanent is unsatisfactory. Whatever is impermanent, unsatisfactory is without self. Seeing these 3 things in our body, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness, is called Vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation. There is no other way. Vipassana meditation means very clearly, deeply, precisely seeing impermanent, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness of the body, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness. That is Vipassana meditation. Seeing them in exactly as they are. So don't try to think of anything else. People say, while you are walking, be mindful. What you will be mindful of when you are walking? You will see every movement is impermanent. Every moment you have feeling, that is impermanent. Every moment you have perception, that is impermanent. Every moment you have thought, that is impermanent. Every moment you make, there is a consciousness, that is impermanent. So the body is impermanent, and activities that you perform with the body, with any part of the body, hands, legs, feet, nose, tongue, and so forth, all these are the parts of the body. When we use these parts, we experience nothing but impermanence. Whatever is impermanence is unsatisfactory. Why it is so? Because certain things that we experience is pleasant and we like it, but we cannot hold on to it. It disappears. That makes us unsatisfactory. So impermanent things makes us unsatisfactory. Whatever is impermanent, unsatisfactory is without self. If there is self, self should be able to control this according to our whims and fancies. It doesn't happen. Therefore, everything in our life is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and without self. Seeing this in every way, every moment, all day long, is the practice of vipassana meditation. Okay, next question.
The next question, Bhante, is sometimes during meditation, my breath becomes calm, and then I can no longer hear or feel the sensation of the breath in my nostrils. Should I begin to focus on the rising and falling of the abdomen when this happens? And what aspect of breathing should I then focus on when this happens?
Okay, when this happens, you have to, I think it is better for you to focus your mind on the tip of the nose or nostrils or upper lips or the rising and falling of the abdomen. I think focusing mind on the tip of your nose or nostrils or upper lip would be better, because there you can see the whole breath body. Whole breath body means beginning, middle and end. Beginning is the tip of the nose, middle is your chest, end is your lower abdomen. When you exhale, beginning is lower abdomen, middle is the chest, end is the nostrils. And these 3 points can become clear when we pay attention to your breath at the tip of your nose or nostril. So when you don't feel anything, you come back to these original points where you felt the breath at the beginning. You come back to that and take several quick breaths, very quickly, several times. Then you will notice the touch of breath again as you started. And that's how when you lose your feeling for breath, that's what you have to do. Okay?
Yes, I don't see any other questions in the chat right now, Bhante. But do you have? I think Prashant has a question.
Bhante, I have a question.
Yeah.
Bhante, how should we they say that about concept and perceptions? Like, how should we practice in our daily life? How should we, I know everything is a concept and perception, but how can we rise above that, like to see beyond the concept and perception, or like as you mentioned, probably through the Vipassana practice. Can you explain in that way? How can we practice the Vipassana practice in terms of concept and perception?
Okay. All perception is built up of concept. When we build up all kind of concepts, we build up our perceptions. For instance, you perceive an object. You perceive in front of you there may be a book. You perceive the book. As soon as you perceive the book, all kind of concept arises to identify your perception. So you know the shape of the book is a concept. The weight of the color of the book is a concept. And paper, you're recognizing the paper is a concept. So it is the concept, the whole trillions of concepts built into perception. Now, that's called sanya. Sanya. Sanya is perception. That perception is built up of various type of concepts. A book concept, color concept, and so forth. And then all built together as to make concept. Now, how to use this as a part of your meditation is that all concepts are, as I mentioned, impermanent. They are impermanent, and therefore your perception is impermanent. They change in an inconceivable rapidity that you cannot separate or identify one concept from the other or one perception from the other. They are changing all the time. And in meditation, actually, all these are changing together. When one changes, others also change at the same time. They don't have a sort of an order, a sequence, or agreement that you change first, then I change. Like that, there's no such agreement, no such sequence. When one is changing, others also change at the same time. So in Vipassana meditation, when we gain deep awareness with concentration, you will notice all these are changing and you cannot isolate one from the other. That is impossible. Perhaps one like the Buddha or Venerable Sariputta might be able to identify and separate them and recognize one by one. But ordinary people just know or feel the changes. For example, whenever Sariputta was able to identify them, and one example is given in the discourse called Anupada Sutta. Anupada Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 111, 111. He even was able to identify the properties of all the jhanas. First jhana, second jhana, third, fourth, and then immaterial jhanas until nothingness. So he identified all of them, all perception, all conception, he identified. Otherwise, ordinary people cannot identify them and isolate and separate, individualize them. But they all, what they can do is experience the changes of all of them taking place all the time.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay?
The next question, Bhante, is when somebody is sick and then we send metta to this person that is sick, is this a proper practice? Is this the right thing to do? Sending metta to a sick person.
Say it again, question.
The question is about sending metta to a person that is ill, a person that is sick. Is this the proper practice to do metta, sending metta to a sick person?
I think that's a good practice. You send all the 4 Brahmaviharas, karuna, especially when somebody is sick, you become compassionate towards a person, and if you can, especially since these days there are all kind of mass media, use one of them to communicate with the person in words. You can use cell phone, land phone, or you can use all other means, you text them and use what you call WhatsApp or whatever. Use some means to express your compassion, your loving friendliness towards a person. That would be more effective than your sitting in one place and sending the metta thoughts, radiating the metta thoughts. That person does not know that you are practicing metta towards that person or compassion towards the person. You must make the person aware that you are sending, practicing the metta. Do it every day in some communicable means, so like any of the mass media. That way it will work. Otherwise, sending metta, that person does not know. You have to do it with the awareness of the other person. Then it will be effective. Okay?
Yes, Bhante. I don't see any other questions in the chat right now.
Okay, if you don't have any questions, we can...
Okay, one just came up. In thinking of the concept of self and of self and not self, can we categorize the three instances as follows? Not I, as understanding our relationship to other beings. Not mine, as understanding our relationship to the physical world. And not myself, as understanding ourselves. So the person is trying to make a connection between the understanding of not self, saying that not I would be in connection to the other beings, not mine in connection to the physical world around us, and not myself in connection to ourselves. They're asking if this seems to be a logical approach to understanding this concept of not self.
Yes, as understanding ourselves. Yes, actually, not mine is the understanding of greed. It is not mine, meaning that you don't try to possess it. In reality, we know even this body is not mine. This body belongs to our parents. Parents, when they met, they planted the first seed, and then mother keep feeding for 9 months. Even that time, the body doesn't belong to us. Feeling doesn't belong to us. All belong to the mother, especially the body belongs to the mother. And then after we were born, mother keeps feeding, breastfeeding, giving milk. Then the body is not doesn't belong to us. It belongs to them. After that we eat food to replace our wearing out bodily parts, our cells. And food is coming from outside. It doesn't belong to us. What is belong to us in the body? Nothing. Our hair, flesh, skin, sinews, our nerves, blood, everything belongs to something or somebody outside, not to us. Therefore, not mine is literally, we must understand, they do not belong to us. Not myself means there is not any part in this body and mind which does not change. Since they all change, there is no particular thing remaining permanent. Self-notion is a concept. As I mentioned earlier, it's a concept. So conventionally we use this concept, but it does not really exist. So in relation not only to the world, in relation to entities of permanence or permanent entities. There is no such permanent entity. So you said you are thinking of a concept of self, not self. So you ask the question, can we categorize the three instances as following: not I, as understanding out our relationship to other beings. Whether other beings are there or not, there is no one particular entity in us to call I. No entity. You analyze, if you like to be an analyst, try to analyze every part of this body to the minutest subatomic particle. Even that is not static, not fixed. It is changing. If something is changing all the time without leaving anything behind, you cannot call it I. Similarly, as I mentioned, the body, feeling, perception and so forth, they arise due to causes and conditions. When the causes and conditions disappear, there is nothing to be called mind. So it doesn't belong to, when there is no I, how can there be mind? So in the first place, when we deny I, next question even doesn't arise, cannot arise. And the third also is the same, not myself. When we deny I, how can we say this is myself? So this is the way to look at it in a vipassana method. If we don't have vipassana insight, we cannot see them in this way. Friends, I think this is enough for this morning. Now we go to our meditation and see our next part. So I have to stop here answering questions and we go to meditation. Okay?
Share the screen.
Right. Okay. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Okay, let us meditate till I ring the By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear-struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, friends, I want to end this session with my regular metta wish. May all those who are in hospitals suffering from various diseases taken care of by the compassionate doctors, nurses, and hospital staff, may they recover their normal health and learn to practice Dhamma and liberate from samsaric suffering. May all the doctors, nurses, and hospital staff who sacrifice their comfort, risk their life out of compassion for them, may they also find peace, happiness, and liberate from samsaric suffering. All those who have lost their loved ones, who are grieving, and I wish them to be free from grief and continue their Dhamma practice and attain liberation from grief in samsara. And all those who are in various trouble spots, war zones, where they are suffering from poverty, discriminations, and all kind of difficulties. They manage to overcome them and continue the Dhamma practice and liberate from samsaric suffering. May all those whose categories I have not mentioned, may they all, as I mentioned earlier, without any discrimination, we wish them peace, happiness, and liberation from samsaric suffering. Friends, we practice metta honestly, sincerely, for our own peaceful state of mind. It is we who practice metta that experience peace, and others, we, in our mind, we wish them to be peaceful and happy. By our wishing, so billions of beings living in the world, trillions of beings in the universe, they may not be peaceful and happy, but those of us who practice them, practice metta, experience peace, happiness, free from greed, hatred, and delusion, and help us to attain liberation. So, friends, may we all be well, happy, and peaceful, and liberate from samsaric suffering. I think that is all we can do today, and I wish you peace and happiness. Okay, let me close now.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you,
Terima
Bhante.
kasih.
Buddha Saranai Bhante.
Thank you,
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Guru Saranai. Teruvan Saranai Samanante.
Tervan
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.